But yeah, we're talking about a special
Yeah.
benchmark. Gosh, this is nerdy.
It's my start, Josh. Do you love to travel?
Do you love finding hidden treasures in towns all over the USA? Hi, I'm Joshua.
And I'm Craig, and welcome to Treasures of Our Town, the podcast that explores the unique and charming towns scattered throughout the United States.
Join us as we venture into some of the country's most intriguing destinations, uncovering hidden gems and local secrets along the way.
On today's episode, Josh, we're going back in time. We're going to discuss 2023, the year that was, and also we're going to look into the future.
Into
we're going to
the
go back
future?
to the future. That's what you like. Yeah.
We're going back in time. Bum, 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 ba-da. That's why people tune into this podcast, to hear me sing random things.
Exactly right. And like, have your banter in terms of the amount of pop culture that you actually really do know.
It's funny.
You know a lot, mate.
Yeah. My parents call me Rerun because I just say the same things from every show. But I was just going to say with the singing part, when I was in high school, my locker mate, the person that had their locker next to me, could not stand my singing. And not because it sounded bad, but I would get a song stuck in their head for the whole hour. So I'd be, come to my locker singing some song. And then all of a sudden, the next hour they come and like, oh, I can't stand you. I had that song stuck in my brain this whole last hour. And I'd sing another song. I'm like, well, now you have a new one. I'm just like a radio.
You really, but then also pop culture when it comes to movies as well, movie quotes.
Yeah,
we can't deny you of that either.
I know
you got movie quotes coming out of your ears.
Did you not watch as many movies as a child?
Oh, not as much as what you have by the sounds of it, but also, I mean, I'll be honest with you as well. I mean, I'm a 75 model, Josh. I'm 48.
So you've forgotten things because you're old.
Yeah. And selectively forgotten as well. Now, what I was going to say is that I don't think America really started to influence Australia until the 80s and 90s. 90s was America's biggest influence in Australia. And so, yeah, we had movies and stuff, but we didn't have that much TV time either. We had 3 channels, Josh, in Australia. 3 channels. That's it. There's no cable. There's no, what do you call it here? Your Netflix or any of that sort of stuff that was all on demand. None of that at all. So we had 3 channels, of which only 2 of those channels at 8:30 p.m. every night had a movie. So and me growing up, it wasn't until I was like in my teens, Josh, 12 to 13, that I was allowed to sit up and watch that movie from 8:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. That was the movie time with the commercials in between. So I think that's what it was for me, more so than anything else. We did have, obviously, the local video store and whatnot as well. And we used to walk up and, select our videos every Friday, like, most of us did. But for me personally, it was the 3 channels. That's what it was. Plus, I was an outdoors person as well. Like, believe it or not, you wouldn't look at me now and go, "Oh, geez, he was really sporty." But I was back in the day. So my weekends were busy, Josh, busy. So
that's funny because it's sort of reverse for me. When I was a kid, I probably spent a lot of time inside watching movies, playing video games, and it was geocaching that actually got me outside more to become a real life Goonie.
No, that's fair enough. Speaking of Goonies, Josh, I do remember you going down to the Goonies location, and did you hear that they sold the house, and the new guy that bought the house is welcoming people up again now? That's good.
It's really great. I've actually been trying to get a hold of that guy on Instagram because I don't know if it's 2024, but I want to revisit Astoria, Oregon again. It's my happy place. When I visited there for the first time with Tammy, we were like, I could see us moving here like when we're retired. So
really?
It's a magical place. And yes, the guy that owns the Goonies house is fully embraced Goonies. He's a fan, and he makes people do on his Instagram profile. He makes people do the truffle shuffle.
I knew, I was waiting for that.
Yeah,
jeez, I could do that really well at the moment. Just saying,
yeah, me too.
I'd stop the truffle shuffle, but it'd keep going. Like inertia would keep it moving for the next 5 minutes at the moment.
Maybe that's one of our resolutions.
Absolutely.
For the new year is that we will not be as good at the truffle shuffle as we are right now.
and let's be honest as well, with New Year's resolutions, Josh, that's going to last for a total of 3 or 4 days. Like,
I know.
It's what happens. It happens to all of us.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Happy New Year, Craig.
Happy New Year to you, buddy. Happy New Year to you, mate. This is season 2 we're going to start now. So this is the episode 1 of season 2. So we're going to do seasons in years. What do you think of that?
I want to do that. Let's go back through 2023. And as I was looking at our podcast list, just high level reflection, this is one of the best travel years that I have had personally. And here's a little tip and advice for people. If they want to travel more, here's a tip. Get yourself a travel podcast.
Exactly.
Because you're going to need stuff to talk about.
But in saying that, Josh, I'm going to ask you a big question here. You ready for this?
Yes.
Now, you said last year you traveled a lot. Like you traveled, it's probably your best travel year, to date, I dare say.
Probably.
Yeah. I remember, though, you didn't get your TSA until the end of it.
That's funny. Actually, I got my TSA this summer. So I should say the first half of 2023 was the best travel year. But as soon as I got the TSA pre-check that you told me to get, I'm cursed. I have not even used it yet once, and I got it in August. I am ready to get on a plane, and we'll talk about that as we venture into 2024. But yeah, can you believe it? I haven't used my TSA pre-check once.
Because every time after that, you've actually been on the road, driving around,
short road trips up. Yeah, that doesn't count. Just driving around the Midwest, it doesn't count. I need to get on a plane. It does count.
Yeah,
it does count.
It does count. All travel counts. And this is what our podcast has always been about, is that, you're finding your if you can't get out and travel like on aircrafts and stuff like that too, you can get around your own local area and find little hidden gems, as AI likes to say.
Hidden treasures and hidden gems all over the world, right out your front door.
I want to share with you some, should we share some stats before we move on to the actual year that was?
Oh, I love stats.
You like the stats? Stats are cool. Everyone who's like a geocacher or some sort of gameplay like that, we love our statistics.
Yes.
Josh, our first published podcast was on the March 16 of 2023. So
wow.
March 16, that long ago. We started in March, Josh.
I thought we started earlier, but we were talking about it earlier.
That's right.
We'll get to that. But,
we spoke about it in January.
Yeah, we haven't done a full year yet, so our year anniversary is coming up.
Exactly. 22 episodes in total. But the biggest, I'm going to say, surprise and pleasant surprise at that for me was the amount of downloads. So this podcast has really and slowly picked up with each episode. We're at just over now 27,000 downloads in 22 episodes.
You keep telling me that's a lot. And I believe you. I believe you, but I'm skeptical.
I Google this, right? I Google this. Well, our partner app, Buzzsprout, they've been great with us as well. They're a fantastic. If you want to start your own podcast, I'm telling you now, reach out to me and I'll let you know everything that I've done in regards to it. And Buzzsprout has been our best platform to boost us as well. They told us, Josh, we're in the top 25%. Of all podcasts.
Buzzsprout or all podcasts?
All podcasts. So the average podcast, the average episode gets 150 downloads. Josh, we've got 27,000 downloads in 22 episodes. That's over 1,000 per episode.
Nice.
And the average gets 150. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, we're not Joe Rogan here. Don't get me wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're always learning. We're always aspiring for each episode to try and better the one before. And yet, I don't think it has, to be honest with you. There's been ups and downs in our episodes, and we're going to discuss that. But yeah, I'm just saying to say, the numbers themselves represent I personally think our hard work over the last 12 months, which is really, really cool.
It feels good to be above average.
You've always been above average. What are you talking about, Josh? I know you. Our most listened episode. Josh, I don't think you read the show notes yet, but have you read the show notes? What do you think our most listened to episode was?
You don't think I read the show notes?
Oh, well,
come on. I do know our most listened episode. Our most listened episode is, Does Cleveland Actually Rock?
And did that actually surprise you?
No, it didn't, because that was a great episode.
It really
and that was a great trip, and we'll talk about it.
Yes.
Maybe we need to title all of our episodes a question.
Yes. Yeah, a question.
Because that was the only one that was a question.
Mm-hmm. True.
So maybe it intrigued people to download it because they're wondering, does Cleveland actually rock? And the answer is, listen to the podcast.
Well, I just see a spoiler. Yes, it does. Our most listened platform, Josh, is Apple iTunes. So most people listen, and I'm talking 76% of the 27,000 downloads is on Apple iTunes.
I think they're just that's mostly me.
41 countries, Josh. 41 countries.
Now that's a little bit surprising.
Yeah.
That's a little bit surprising.
I mean, not surprising. The biggest country is the US, because that's what our podcast is about, traveling the US.
Yeah, that's true.
We did have a German one in there once, but it's traveling the US. 71% is the US. 4% is shared by Canada and Australia.
Oh, you bring in those Australia listeners.
I'm bringing into it. And then New Zealand, Germany, and UK share 3% as well. So 3% each for them. So there you go.
That.
New Zealand. Well, we say Australians say New Zealand is the most eastern state of Australia, and they hate that.
You know why? Germany? That's our only non-English, primarily speaking country.
Yes.
It had to be the Gamify Your Adventure when we did the interview with the grandson of Carl's, the strawberry farm place. So I'm sure Carl's shared our episode.
And that spin-off episode was obviously inspired by your travels there and your videos there as well. So that's the best thing I think about this episode too, Josh, is that we don't this is an audio-only podcast. So they don't see us, Sunday mornings when we record this with our eyes all blackened and half asleep, and, we don't have to do our hair. We just chuck our hats on. Mm-hmm. They don't see any of that. But what they can do is they can listen to this podcast. If they want to visualize it more, they go to your YouTube channel and check out the YouTube link. So, yeah.
This is true. This podcast is kind of just unpacking my videos. A lot of it is. And your videos as well. But I like that.
Some of mine.
I like that. And that's one of the reasons I think I said yes to doing this podcast. Should we get into this last year? Because, and just high level, we're going to go through this last year. Mm-hmm. We're not going to probably deep dive into each episode. If you want to listen to the episodes, go back and listen to them. We got some good stuff out there.
Yeah.
But we're going to go kind of episode by episode and try to remember what we remember without repeating ourselves too much. And you know how we are. Our brains will probably divert to different topics. And that's the part of the charm. Although our friend Minnesota Boy, he's like, I really enjoy the podcast, Josh, but sometimes you guys go off on too far of tangents. I was like, thank you, Tim, for that feedback. Feedback received and feedback denied.
Feedback ignored. Poor Tim. He's a great mate, Tim, and again another great Patreon too of the show. But we'll get into that first. First up, Josh, our first episode, Birthed in a Hot Tub.
Birthed in a Hot Tub. I think that got a lot of downloads because of the title. That's a great title.
It's a good title, but it's true though too. Yeah.
This podcast was a water birth.
Yeah, it was. And we're going to get into that. That's a possibility that may happen again in 2024.
Are we going to have a hot tub?
I don't think we're going to have a hot tub. I don't know if we could all fit in the bath though. We'll give that a
try. We know you love your baths.
This is true. If you follow me on what's that? Be Real.
Yeah,
that new app that you Be Real. I do enjoy a bath.
Craig gets so excited when Be Real goes off in the tub.
The opposite. I don't get excited because I go, oh, not again.
People are gonna just think you just stew in your old filth.
That's exactly what Tim says. So. Anyway, Josh, moving on to episode number 2, Living the High Life in Lompoc, California. That was a cool second episode. Let's be honest, Josh. That was a good episode, I believe, personally, especially for a second one.
Yes, we went to Lompoc, California, which is wine country. I learned that it was wine country when I was there. I was like, as I'm sitting in a winery with a wine cat sitting next to me.
Wine cat.
And I love that wine cat.
It was sitting on you.
Yes, it was a very friendly cat. Sipping my wine, I turned to the lady that owns the wine place we're at, and I'm like, "Are we in wine country?" I was like, what's the definition of wine country? And in fact, we were in wine country, but we weren't there for wine. Yeah. We were there for a geotour.
Yes. And we had a great host with us as well. So Scott from GSM times 2. And he was a great host as well. He hosted us there in Lompoc. And, of course, Tim was along for the ride. Well, he was along for the drive.
Yes.
So that was really awesome.
I was sick as a dog. Do you remember how sick I was?
I know.
Oh,
so
that was rough.
Just to give everyone visuals, this is what was basically happening. And then we drove up because we're in California for a Munzie mega event first.
Yes.
And then we stayed an extra night, if you like. And Tim drove up, but in the car. So think of this, people, and you see it on like The Amazing Race and other, Survivor, all that sort of stuff, whereby you have the driver. The driver is Tim. You have the camera guy, sound guy, etc. He's in the back seat. That was me with my cameras in my hands, getting everything sorted out. And then you have the talent. The talent was sitting in the front seat. Unfortunately, he was very sick at this time, and he was coughing. He was drinking, sipping tea or whatever, and having throat lozenges. And you were sort of ducked down with your hat on, like, I don't really want to be here. But yeah, that was your job, was to sit in the front seat and just ride along for the ride. But then, Josh, as talent is, we get out of the car, we go to film, and you, bam,
come to life.
Smiles, you come to life. There he is. I'm like, there he's back. That's not a problem. Yeah, blows his nose for a little bit, then puts his tissue back in his pocket and keeps going. So yeah.
If you watch those videos, you do notice my voice sound sick. But yeah, when you're on, you're on. And we were there to film a really unique place. Like, I don't know if I've ever visited a place quite like it. It was a beautiful area.
Well, and it's funny enough too. I think personally, we were doing the hot tub. We're on the Space Coast of Florida, and then Lompoc is technically the Space Coast of California.
The other Space Coast.
The other Space Coast. That's where they rockets launch over that side as well. So first and second episode were on the opposite sides of the country, but still with space themed. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, we didn't even plan that, really.
No, we didn't. And I didn't even think of it until just then.
All right.
Episode 3, Josh. Now, I will say this. Episode 3, we had a discussion before we made episode 3, and you were like, I don't really want to do this sort of episode, blah,
I know,
blah, blah.
I didn't. They're tough.
But guess what? This is our second most downloaded episode.
Well, that doesn't necessarily mean people liked it.
Well, they downloaded it. So that's the top 10 spring trip locations in the US. So, you're one of person, the style of host that likes to be there and give your, honest opinion rather than just Google.
Right.
That's what you've always been wanting to. But in saying that, Google's your best friend. If you want to travel and you don't know where to go, etc., then this is what you do. You research, and so we did the research for them, Josh.
Yeah, and some of the places we had mentioned, I believe I had been before. But most of our episodes this last year have been places that we have been. At least one of us have been. But some of these episodes, like even our last episode, our Christmas episode, a lot of those places were aspirational. And actually, the research was kind of fun because I was even thinking about 2024 and where I wanted to do my Christmas special. And I now have 10 different ideas of where I could go to do our Christmas special for this year.
Are you going to give us a little sneak peek as where you think it might be?
I really would love to go to
Give us your top 3.
I really would love to go to Seneca Falls, the home of It's a Wonderful Life, because I watched that movie every holiday. Tammy had never seen it before. She had never seen It's a Wonderful Life, and she was skeptical. And when she finished watching it, she was like, "Oh my God!" She was like, "That's the best Christmas movie." I was like, "It felt so good. It felt so good to be right." Because a lot of times I'm not right.
I was going to say, it's very rare being a husband as well.
I know, right? Let's be honest. But I was right. She loved it. She thought it was the best Christmas movie. So Seneca Falls, if you listen to our last episode, is the town that Bedford Falls is based off of from the movie It's a Wonderful Life. So I think that would be great. But I think more likely the Christmas episode could be in Chickasaw. Because I think in 2024, it is likely. We've had some discussions. Oklahoma is drawing me in for lots of reasons. Chickasaw is where the leg lamp is, as we talked about in the last episode. There's a geotour right outside, just north.
You're north a sucker for geotours too.
North of Oklahoma. There's a really epic geocache. They're called Infernal Device.
Yes.
Which is basically like a room like from the movie Saw.
Yes, yeah, and it's almost like a breakout one of those breakout room type styles as well. So yeah.
So Craig, I know you've been to Oak City before. I don't know if they call it. I don't know if they call it that. Oak City.
No, they say OKC. OKC. That's what they call it. OKC.
I know you've been there before. It would be, cool to meet there for a long weekend.
It really would be, because I could show you around a little bit, let's be honest. But
I know.
For me, Oklahoma City itself, they've got an area, and I can't say exactly where it's not in the downtown region. It's a little bit further south of that. But there's a man-made canal going through, and on each side of the canal is old like brickworks and old industrial buildings that have all been turned into restaurants and bars and that sort of life. And you can walk each side of it, and there's bridges going over the canals, and there's canal rides going through as well, so you can go from one end of the canal to the other. So, and there's some beautiful waterfalls, man-made waterfalls along the canal as well. So that's really, really nice location.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of. Have you ever been to San Antonio?
Yes.
Yeah, the river walk downtown. They have those. It sounds a little bit like that.
Yep, exactly right. Anyway, Josh, moving on to episode number 4, we had Silly America on.
Valerie.
Valerie, she was actually a second guest on the show. So Valerie from Silly America, she's been doing some great things, especially over Christmas time. I see on her Instagram recently.
Yes, she's been the chick I saw. She's been to that. Yeah. She's been to the giant leg lamp.
I saw she did some dancing around the leg lamp. I saw on her Instagram.
That's right. And she had a book come out, a road tripping book, which is just like perfect for this podcast. And it was great talking to her. I think we should have her on again. She's a big fan of Route 66 as well. So there's a lot that she has seen and a lot of places I'd like to go. And that's another thing. Like, well, let's not get into 2024. Let's do it at the end.
Not just yet.
It's likely that we might be near Route 66.
He still has to do some spoilers. You couldn't. But Valerie's done, because that was back in May, Josh. So she's done a lot of traveling as well since May. That I've seen on her Instagram channel. So it'd be great to get her back in this year.
I would love to have her on at least like once a year. Same with Megan. Megan was a great guest.
Yeah, Megan was on 2 episodes.
We'll get to Megan because that's coming up. Here.
The next one we went to was in New Mexico. You broke bad in Mexico, Josh.
Green smoke.
We speak about your favorite movies, favorite Christmas movies. Do you think Breaking Bad would be your favorite series?
I don't know if it's my favorite show, but it's up there. It's up there.
Yeah.
But it's my son's favorite show. So this was a father-son trip. So I even appreciated Breaking Bad even more after visiting Albuquerque.
Yes, yeah, because it did Albuquerque so. It represented it so well. Like what you see in the show is Albuquerque. It is New Mexico. I love that style. I love that the dryness, the desert sort of style. The heat, the dust.
Yes, the dust. I don't know if I said this on the podcast, but so Hayden and I flew into Albuquerque. We flew in later, went to the Airbnb. Then next morning, I was like, I want to get some coffee. So what do? I searched best coffee shops in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
I don't know if I shared the story. We go and we find a coffee shop that is also a tattoo parlor. And when I walked into this coffee shop / tattoo parlor, I felt like I was literally walking into the show. The owner had tattoos on his face, and he was the nicest guy, but he was like, "Oh my gosh, you look like you are from this show." It was Hayden was loving. He's like, "Did I just walk into Breaking Bad?" I was like, "Yes, you did. Yes, you did." It was so cool. I loved.
How was the coffee though?
It was great. It was great. And then he opened up the tattoo parlor just so we could like walk around and look at stuff, because he had just like a ton of like cool stuff in the tattoo parlor. But it was so cool. And we said, why are you here? And he loved the Minnesota Vikings, so we made that connection. But then we said, we're here because we're fans of Breaking Bad. And then the owner was talking about like he had all these inside stories, and I couldn't tell if he was telling the truth on how he was like tried to like make a pass at one of the actors. And like, I was like, I don't know if this, if he's just giving me bull. I kind of felt like he was, but because he was kind of bragging. But I was like, oh my gosh, this is Breaking Bad. We are here. It was fantastic. Loved it.
That was a great episode. That was really good episode because I'd been to New Mexico as well previously and did a full big drive trip around, but I didn't, Josh. I didn't do any of the Breaking Bad stuff. And we spoke earlier in this episode in regards to the Goonies house. Let you know now, don't if you're going to go to the Breaking Bad house, don't go across the road. Don't hassle they're not very welcoming of guests.
You have to go. You should go.
Yeah, you should go.
Just stay on the other side of the street,
side of the road. Yeah.
But Craig, Craig has edited some of my videos over the last year, and I'm just going to say the Breaking Bad video that you edited for me was maybe some of your finest work this year.
Oh, you liked it?
It was really good, especially the ending.
Oh, I got to go back and watch it.
Remember the ding, 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 ding. Remember?
Oh, yes. Well, that was Hayden though, and that's the thing, Josh. I think personally as well, it's not just the edit itself; it's what comes in first. And so, Hayden, I'll tell you now, if people haven't seen Josh's Breaking Bad video, go back and watch it. And if you have, go back and watch it again, because the way Hayden works on camera, he works. But you can't tell. Like, this is the best part. You see the good actors out there and actresses, whatever else as well, but you see them whereby they make it look easy. It's the same as dancers. Good dancers make it look easy, make it look natural. And that's what Hayden is. He's a natural. And so when he does different works, when you're in that shop, with the candy store shop, and you come out and he's there, wow, he's doing it all. He's exactly like, Jesse Pinkman. Like, it's incredible. I thought, Hayden, yes, mate. Yes. I'm thinking to myself, Hayden, where did you get this from? Obviously your mum, because your dad can't act this good, just saying. But,
He went into full, if you watch that video, he goes into full Jesse Pinkman mode.
Yes.
He fully embraced it. It was fantastic. Yeah. I think we'll put the video in the show notes.
I'll put the video in the show notes. Absolutely. Moving on, Josh, Spaced Out on the Florida coast was the last one in May.
That was a great trip.
We had Dale and Barb on. Remember? We had
that's right.
We had two. Yes, Dale and Barb from Space Coast Geostore. That's spacecoastgeostore.com.
Not sponsored, but we love them.
No. We do love them.
We love them because they're listeners to the show.
And patrons as well.
And patrons. Thank you. Yeah. So what is your biggest memories of this trip? Here's a couple memories for me. I'll start as you think.
Yeah.
The SpaceX launch. Yes. I never thought in my life I'd get a chance to see a space rocket shoot into the sky. Yeah. That was really special. That was really cool.
It was the heavy one as well. Like, it wasn't just a basic rocket launch. It was actually the heavy. So it's the biggest one that SpaceX do.
Yeah, and we got to see it like go up and then come back down on the platform. It's just I was watching that. I was like, we're in the future.
Yes,
it was fantastic. And then and then we were there for a Muncie event, and I was kind of like Tim. I was mostly the driver. And you were just like, you were capping Muncie's. And let me just say, like crazy. And, here's a little Muncie talk. If you don't know what Muncie is, another location-based game based on QR codes. It's all a points-based game. It's like if geocaching and Pokemon Go had a baby. I think that's a good way to.
Yeah, that's a really good analogy.
Way to think about it. I was driving you around the Space Coast, and you were just capping so many Muncie's. And you got 1 million points while I was driving. And now I think about that because this last week you passed me in Muncie points. You passed me up. Yeah. And I think it's the reason you passed me up is because I helped you.
Oh, Josh. Well, I'll be honest with you. You helped me to a certain degree, but if people don't, if you are a Muncie player, you'll understand this next part, and that is Muncie is a game whereby you can, if you start the game like I did, when Josh first did your first video of it, mate. You did it, back in 2015 or something. You did a video on it, and so you put up a QR code, and I scanned your QR code. Therefore, I became one of your referrals. Now, I just looked at the stats for referrals, just to let you know. You are the number one person for referrals in the world.
The world.
And I'm talking by far, Josh. I'm talking you're over 1,500 referrals now. Josh, you got 80 referrals this month.
Or in December. I don't even watch that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, you got 80. I got 6 this month, and I did the tutorial videos as well. But no, Josh still gets 80 this month. So 1,500 referrals, Josh. Well done to you, mate. And I am one of those referrals. What people don't understand though is if like whenever I get points, I get so many points, and then Josh, you get some of those points as well because you're my referral person. So for me to catch you and then surpass you, I've got to do more than the normal person.
Well,
so just saying.
I do get points from you, but let's be honest. Let's be honest here. For every 100 Munsies you capture, I get 10 points.
That's right.
That's not a lot. That's like a greenie. That's like me capping a greenie for every 100 you get. Anyway,
moving on from the Munsie talk. I know
the Space Coast was amazing. It was. We don't talk about the weather, but boy, was it cold. I'm hoping for better.
Yes,
I'm hoping for better in Orlando in a couple weeks here. So.
Exactly. But just a quick little bit more talk about the Munsie stuff, and that is recently, I'm talking Christmas time just gone in 2023, our good friend Rob Vardaman, he's the president of Munsie, and his wife, Lou, she's in charge of all the events, etc. They were in Florida, Josh, and I saw on their Instagram page as well that they saw a space launch as well while there. And it was a heavy too. It was a heavy as well. And cool. Lou said the same thing to you, the same thing as what you just did, and that is, she never thought that she would ever see something like that in her lifetime, in real life.
That's
and there
cool.
She is sitting down and watching a heavy launch. So yeah, Space Coast, one of the best places to go, Josh. That's one of my. That's up there. That's up there for me.
That was such a fun trip. And another thing that is sort of been kind of our thing, Craig. At least I want it to be our thing. We always try to find some cheesy thing to do.
Yes.
Wherever we are. So we went to the Mall of America, and I so badly wanted you to do the log ride, and it was closed. So we went to the mirror maze, which was cheesy. But the cheesy thing that I love doing, I really enjoy it, and I want to do more of it in 2024, is more mini golf. More putt-putt. So we might need to, when we are in Orlando in a couple weeks, we might need to find a putt-putt place. Keep the tradition alive.
Exactly, and of course Rob played putt-putt with us as well that trip, and so did Carson.
Yeah,
as well. Carson played with us as well. Buckeye Casher,
and they're all going to be in Orlando in a couple weeks, so we can do a rematch. I believe you won. That last night.
Yeah, of course I did.
Yeah, well,
I did. Please, Josh.
I've been practicing all year. I'm.
Oh, I bet you have.
You just wait.
You don't like losing.
I don't like being below average.
No, you don't. Anyway, moving on from the Space Coast, and again, big thanks to a shout out to Dale and Barb for being on that episode with us. That was great. Josh, we went to Owensboro, Kentucky, and it was the Bourbon, Bluegrass, and Barbecue in
another great trip,
Kentucky.
Another great city. Wow,
city or town? Would you class?
I'd say it's an in-betweener. It's an in-betweener.
It is.
It's pretty big. It's not tiny.
Yeah. And I think it's a very attractive town as well in terms of the scenery, that river walk that we did, and I still remember one of my biggest memories of this is when we did the river walk. It was one afternoon, Josh. All the events are done and dusted, and you and I were like sort of winding down at this point in time. And you're like, I just want to go for the room for a lie down for a little bit. So we did. We went to our separate rooms and had a lie down for a little bit, and then you messaged me and you're like, "Do you want to come and do a live with me on TikTok Live?" And so we did the river walk as a TikTok Live on your TikTok, and we found the geotour caches along the river walk. That was pretty cool. I enjoyed that.
That's funny because I don't think we talked about that when we talked about Owensboro. There was a lot of fun we had in Owensboro. It's a great city.
Yes,
I love the bourbon tour. That really is stuck in my mind. Every time now I run into bourbon whiskey, I think about that tour.
And you learn a lot when you do a tour like that as well.
Yeah.
So even though you've still got yours, I don't have mine any left anymore. But anyway,
I know I have so much left. Oh my gosh! Well, I forgot what I was going to say. Shoot, it was something about Owensboro, and I can't remember it. Maybe it'll come to me later. Should we move on? We should move on. Oh, yes, it came to me. It came to me.
Yes,
we did a live. It was the first year of our podcast. We did a live show.
Oh yes,
in Owensboro,
and we published that as our next episode as well. The live show.
It was.
We did that as our
horrible.
Next episode
it was great in person. Horribly recorded. We couldn't figure out the technology.
No, well, we did, but we didn't. And when I say we did, but we didn't, and that is we didn't have the right person who's normally in charge of their sound system, and so I could not plug in to their sound system to record it from their sound system, from the microphone, from their good microphones. So what we got instead was literally a microphone in the middle of the stage, and recorded everything. Yeah. So
we apologize,
all the cloud, all that. Yeah.
I encourage you
with that, Josh.
Yeah, I know you did. I encourage people not to listen to that one.
I even remember after that published, you said to me, Josh, you go, "Oh, should we just pull it down?" That's what you said to me.
Should we still pull it down?
No.
But you know what we did? We posted an episode that following week right away. So it was not the most the most updated one. Just because it didn't sound good.
No,
we take pride in ourselves for quality here at this podcast.
Yeah, and audio quality. Like I can't stand. I'll be honest with you, and that is if I'm driving and I listen to podcasts myself, but I can't listen to a podcast that hasn't got good audio. That's got a lot of background noise happening. That maybe that's the old man in me, where my ears can't differentiate that much anymore, as opposed to these good quality microphones, and it's just literally smooth voices back and forth. So yeah, that one we struggled with, but we replaced it. We replaced it, Josh, with a little quick episode of geocaching across borders, an unexpected venture with an Uber driver.
Yes, this was a preview, I believe, of our hidden nuggets. We wanted to show people the type of stuff that they would get if they supported us on Patreon.
Yeah, for the golden nuggets.
I thought that was a great story. It was a story of me and a retired guy taking an Uber to Slovakia to get a geocache.
I know, it was really cool, really, really cool. But I enjoyed that. But again, it was one of those things whereby we had to sort of replace it with something just to get the heat off the other one.
And it wasn't a story. It wasn't a USA story. So we ventured a little bit outside of our niche, which our niche is kind of big, but also a little bit small at the same time. It's interesting.
It is. We tried to go bigger than what it is because it's people think this is a geocaching podcast, and it's not. We like to think of it as a travel podcast first and foremost, and then our travel is guided by our love of geocaching. We say that often. So,
true.
Yeah.
Because most of the places that we talk about, we're there primarily because of geocaching or Muncie or. No, well, do you play Pokemon Go? Do you still play?
I don't. No, I don't.
I open it up every once in a while. It's kind of fun. If I've run out of things to do, there's always Pokemon to be caught.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on, Josh, our next episode was his Norfolk in Nebraska.
That's the Tonight Show theme, if anybody's
And we
wondering.
had another guest on that show as well with us as well, Jutt.
Yeah.
What's his
Jason
Jutt. I'm thinking James. Jason Jutt. So he's on that episode with us as well. So he's a local there in Norfolk, and he gave us some really good local insights because he hosted when you went there, to do the geotour and stuff as well.
Yes, he created the geotour in Norfolk, and I'm not sure how long that's going to be because I've heard I saw on social media that Jason's moving away. Did you see that?
So I did.
So I
also saw that he sold his DeLorean.
Oh,
yes.
That's so sad. Because he didn't sell it to me.
Oh, you wouldn't have bought it anyway. Tammy wouldn't have let you.
If the price was right. Gosh, that would be amazing to have a DeLorean.
It's never going to be right. And then you'd have to actually, you can't have 2 DeLoreans in Minnesota, in Minneapolis.
Oh, sure, you can. Why not? There's never too many DeLoreans.
Anyway, Josh, Norfolk, Nebraska, what was your favorite part, do you think, when you visited Norfolk?
Visiting Johnny Carson's childhood home, because the owner of the place opened it up just for me.
See, again, it's one of those things.
Yeah. The power of YouTube. It's like you flash around. Now I can flash around my silver play button and I can get into places. They should have like a silver play button, like membership card or something. So you can, that would be a cool idea. YouTube
made of metal, like
exactly. But yeah, the owner of the home opened it up to me and he like showed me like secret parts of the house and that was really special. I love that.
I think one of my favorite parts about that, because I edited the video for you for that one as well, and my favorite part was actually my research that I had to do, whereby literally you mimicked.
I did.
The things that Johnny Carson did when he returned to his childhood home in his special. And so I managed to get the special and then Josh overlay the special and Josh overlay, like when you played basketball and stuff as well in his childhood home.
You're so good at that. You did a great job with the Christmas story episode doing, especially the fact that you hadn't seen those things. I was just impressed with your research. I'm impressed with the time you have on your hands to be able to do all that. Appreciate you for that. That's awesome. Problem.
Anytime.
Oh my gosh. Look what's next. This is this is so simple. Like, I would never probably have visited this county unless it was for this.
Never.
But this was so good. And I think this episode got a lot of traction too.
Yes.
This episode.
And the episode we're talking about is?
The Pizza Geo Trail in Seneca County, Ohio. The Pizza Trail. That was so fun, Craig. That was so fun.
And Josh, on Instagram, especially on geocaching Instagram, there's so many people that go out there and do it now. Like so many go out and do it that I've seen on Instagram, and they have their shirts, they're flashing their coins, and they are enjoying the drives around and the types of caches, because they were good sized geocaches as well. They weren't just, what do you call it, a nano and on a tank, those sort of ones. They were good sized caches.
Nancy did a great job with it. And the gentleman that is like in charge of the Chamber of Commerce, I'm blanking on his name. I'm so sorry. I don't know if you remember.
Bryce?
Yes, Bryce. That's right. Good job. Good memory. Yeah, he did a great job like promoting it and making it awesome. And it's just like this episode is, to me, the pinnacle of what this podcast is about, because we discovered the hidden gems and we discovered a lot of pizza. And what I loved about it, Craig, is that we took our time with it and we made a commitment to like try to visit as many pizza places as we could. I mean, we got pretty full, but
very full very quickly.
But we took our time and got to talk to people. Even the last day we went to that pizza place, we just sat up at the bar and talked to the bartender and
and had a beer.
And had pizza, of course. And I love that we
cheese sticks as well.
Oh yeah, the breadsticks.
The breadsticks
in that very first place.
Sensational.
I want to go. I'm hungry for those right now. But yeah, that was really the epitome to me of what this podcast is about. In Seneca County, Ohio. I don't think we would have spent time there unless it was for geocaching and this pizza tour, and got probably one of my favorite geocoins that I've ever gotten. There's a deep satisfaction in getting the geocoin that you earn, and boy, did we earn that one by eating and geocaching.
Exactly right. Yeah. For me, geocoins themselves, people don't know what geocoins are. They're like a challenge coin. People know what challenge coins are. They're like a challenge coin, and it's got a code on it of some sort where you can register the actual coin to have it in your inventory online as well, and then people can discover it, etc. For me, geocoins are memorable when you obtain them by doing extraordinary things or putting a memory to it, like an event or a mega or a giga, those sort of things as well. You put a memory to the coin and it becomes special. Buying a coin from headquarters or wherever, that's all well and good. And I'm happy to support people and support events. But when they come with a memory attached, that's when they're quality coins. Yeah.
And the coin, that coin, oh my gosh, it is so good. First of all, it was shaped like a pizza.
Yeah.
But the pizza came out of it.
A slice.
It came out of it. It's like a slice. And they put it in a tiny pizza box.
That was quality with cheese, with the gold
cheese,
cheese, which is the, what do you call it? It was like not cellophane, but the confetti sort of
paper or whatever. But
paper, whatever it was, but it was gold that looked like cheese inside the box. So that was really cool. Josh, so we moved on as well, and we did our second episode in that same trip. But we moved on and we went to Cleveland, and this is when we said, "This is our biggest one. Does Cleveland actually rock?"
It does. It does rock.
Yeah.
Our best episode. Well, not best maybe, but most downloaded.
Most downloaded.
Because there were so many cool things. There was the duct tape factory.
You and your duct tape factory. Jeez.
I mean, a geocacher loves duct tape, so this
is true.
But we didn't even get in.
No. Well, we got into the front doors, but no further than that. And there was a duct tape vending machine there you could buy some duct tape from. But anyway, you and your duct tape. For me personally, it was the actual Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and experiencing that with you, because we said at the beginning of this episode how pop culture you are when it comes to songs and movies and genres and all that sort of stuff, and to actually walk through this with you, and this is where I feel, where I see what Tammy sees in you when she's experiencing something with you that you're really excited and happy about. It rubs off, Josh. And so even though some things I didn't get, but I got more because you got it and you were excited about it. And I'm like, wow. And I think that's for me as well, watching your videos, that's what comes across in your videos more than anything else, is your excitement level, and it's natural enthusiasm for what you're doing. So yes.
Thank you. I was excited, especially the Beatles area. When we sat down in the and watched the Peter Jackson version of the Let It Be stuff, but it was in like a different format. It was like wide screen.
Wide screen. It was like 3
I love that. But Craig, I don't know if that was really your favorite part.
What do you think? It was the big stamp? Like what else was there?
No.
What else? What?
I think your favorite part was sitting on the porch of our Airbnb and seeing fireflies for the first time.
I forgot that was part of that trip, Josh. I'll be honest with you, because we saw fireflies when we were in the Ohio as well.
Yes, in Seneca County.
In Seneca County, sorry. But we saw the fireflies in Seneca County after that one night in Cleveland. So
yeah. And it was just so fun to watch because it was so magical. Because I remember seeing fireflies for the first time when I was a kid. But it was like you went into full, like, I'm seeing Craig as a 6-year-old, just seeing these things butts light up.
I know, and then to have you explain it to me, and then I'm looking around, and then then I had to do some Googling online, which is a 6-year-old today could do, but not 6-year-old Craig back in 1981. But yeah, having that idea and seeing something brand new, and they are, let's be honest, they are magical stuff, because again, we see that from outside USA point of view. We see those sort of things on movies, at TV shows and stuff. But until you see it for yourself in real life and real time happening, you don't have the appreciation level of it.
Yeah.
So
even in movies. Cool. Even in movies, it's probably artificial, like, and it's like computers or animation, right? So to actually see that they're real, like real. It's actually a real thing, it's pretty cool.
It's not just Peter Pan and Tinkerbell lighting up a butt, Moving on, Josh, because we're at 48 minutes already.
I know, we're going to have to go fast the rest of these.
I know, we'll go fast now. One thing I will say, and that is the Pizza Trail one and the Cleveland Rocks, I enjoyed that one more so than any others as well, because I experienced it with you. It's like the Space Coast one as well. Experience it with you, the two of us together. It's next level. We do podcasts where we research, like the trips away and stuff. We do podcasts where one of us has been there, or we've both been there but separately, like the New Mexico. But to actually do experience this with you, that's the next level. That's so great for me.
Well, and it was really cool too, because there was a lot of variety in that trip, because Seneca County was very rural. Yeah. But Cleveland was a city, so we got a kind of the best of both worlds on that trip.
Absolutely.
That was so much fun.
Absolutely. Moving on to the last one in August, we had Chasing Waterfalls in Buffalo and Niagara. Again, this is one of the ones where we'd both been there, but separately. to experience separate things. So yeah,
and we discovered that we went to the same restaurant without even talking to each other. That was really weird.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, exactly right. Funny. Exactly right. And Nancy up there from Deadliest Caches, she was great. Like reaching out as soon as you start sort of logging her munsies or her geocache, because she coexists as well, which is really cool. She reached out to me. And she's like, Craig, you need to try this. You need to try this. You need to try this. So
well, you know, really as I think about all of our episodes of all the people we talked about in different places, I would say Nancy was the most proud of her town.
I knew wow.
I couldn't. It's episode 1 of season 2. She's proud of her town. That's a damn rare thing these days. When you visit Buffalo, she's got the list. She's got the actual. She probably sent it to you. She has an itinerary that she's printed out of all the things you need to do. Yeah, she's proud of her town. Right. She's so proud.
I knew you'd get it in somewhere, Josh. Anyway, moving on in September, the first one in September was gamifying your travels, and this is the Adventures app. Is your next tour guide. That's the one in Germany. That's when we had the Carl's guys on there.
We felt like it was okay to venture outside the United States because because you can do adventures / lab caches, adventures anywhere.
Yeah, they're worldwide, and they're massive amounts as well in the US, just saying. So, yeah, definitely. But the Adventure Labs, I'll say this, Josh, and that is, to me personally, it's not about, mostly nowadays, not sending you to places or whatever. It's about the numbers, So Adventure Labs, in my mind at the moment, is more geocaching numbers. So Munzie version of geocaching, if like, because when you get the what do you call it, the art, stuff like that too. You're sitting in your car and you're not even reading the questions. You're just multiple choice until you get it right.
Yeah, they're gonna get rid of those. Craig, we agree on a lot of things.
Yeah,
but I think if I think about adventures or lab caches, yes, you can Adventure Labs. You can boost your numbers, and that's why I think this year I had probably the most finds in a year. I think it's inflating the numbers. That's fine.
It is.
But Craig, it has brought me to places I wouldn't go to otherwise.
Some do. Don't get me wrong. Some do. And when I did a fantastic one in Minneapolis with you, that brought me around and showed me all Prince locations. Again, that's what it was made for.
Yes.
I believe personally. It was made for that per se. When they made Adventure Labs, they made them with that in mind, not realizing that some people can sort of, do it out of context.
Make it easier. My guess is that their eye is on that. I think the cream of the crop will rise to the top, and they'll find ways, like at favorite points in geocaching, to highlight the ones that are really amazing, and the other ones people will either do just for the numbers or and Craig, like. I always think it's so funny. I don't have any favorite points to give.
I know you.
I have zero favorite points. I know. I talked to almost any other cacher. They're like, I got 600 left. I was like, sick. I was like, but that is because my quality of finds is so high.
Yes.
Like yesterday, I found a great geocache. I drove 30 minutes to find it, to find one great geocache. And I would have gave it a favorite point, but I'm completely out. And I did not find any other geocaches. Most people don't cache that way. Most people don't. Most people find 20, and they're like, "Oh, I found one good one," and that's like kind of how. That's the ratio of favorite points. That's how it should be. But
9 to 10, yeah.
I'm one of the only people I know that doesn't have any to give. I don't have any to give. On my logs, I literally write. This is really getting into the geocaching, but on my logs, I literally write, I will give a favorite point to you when I have one to give. Because I feel bad. I feel bad. I go to a great cache and I'm like, I don't have any favorite points.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah. And people see their own caches on your social media, like TikToks and whatever else, and they go, oh, he found it. He really liked it. Look at how excited he is.
Didn't give him a favorite point.
But he didn't give me a favorite point. Exactly. So the next 2 episodes, Josh, was Iowa Revealed, an adventurous journey with Megan, and then the wonders of the Hawkeye State, a deep dive into Iowa's quirks. Josh, that started, just people don't understand, people don't know, but that episode, it started with just one episode. It was going to be just one episode, and we got an hour into it, and we paused it. We said, let's pause. Megan, can we just do a second second hour and we'll do 2 episodes out of this. She's like, yes, let's do that. So yeah, that was cool.
The whole state of Iowa is what this podcast is about. There are so many little towns in Iowa and so many little hidden gems in Iowa. She was a great guest. Dare I say, one of our favorite guests. I won't speak for you, but for me, one of my favorite guests.
Yeah.
And she put out a book this year called Hidden. What was it
Hidden
called?
Secrets.
Hidden Secrets. Iowa Revealed.
Revealed. That's it. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
But it's all about hidden secrets in Iowa. And Craig, here's a little new content for you. I was in Iowa for the holidays this week, and I found a hidden gem that I don't think Megan's even been to.
Really? What did you find?
Well, one of the secrets that I don't know if you know this about me, but I've been in the past a closet pro wrestling fan.
I didn't know that. There
you
didn't
go. Know that?
No,
you didn't
not a
know
pro
that?
wrestling fan. No, I've heard you mention but I just thought that was in your 90s genres.
Yeah.
Wow.
I get into it for a while and then I back off. And then I get into it for a while. Like I've actually been to like pay-per-view live shows of wrestling. Yeah. One of my most viral YouTube videos this last year was when I went to Hulk Hogan's beach shop in Clearwater, Florida.
I saw that.
Like that video still is getting traction. Anyway, Marshalltown, Iowa is this place. There's a restaurant that my parents found. It is pretty new. It's a couple years old, called the Flying Elbow.
The Flying Elbow.
The Flying Elbow. And it's a restaurant. It's a restaurant themed off of pro wrestling. Like the whole place is decked out, of course, with wrestling memorabilia, but all the menu is like named after all like famous wrestlers. I had the Jabroni burger, which is the Rock's burger. It was basically like a Hawaiian burger. Reese had the Punk hot dog based off of the wrestler CM Punk, who I guess is from Chicago. So it was basically just a Chicago hot dog. It was so cool. Keep an eye out on my YouTube and my TikTok because, of course, I had to take video.
Well, here you go, because back in the 90s, I actually enjoyed wrestling as well. I wasn't I was a fan, but not like huge fan and whatnot as well. But who was your favorite character growing up then, Josh?
Like growing up in the 80s?
Yeah,
the 80s, my favorite wrestler was the Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, that's why you do the yes.
No, he's not no, that's Daniel Bryan.
Oh,
so later on when I became an adult,
the
yes chant guy is Daniel Bryan.
Oh,
and he is currently my favorite wrestler.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
Guess who mine was, Josh? Guess who mine was?
Your favorite? Was he a good guy or a bad guy?
Bad guy.
Ooh,
believe it or not. Yeah, I was into the bad guys.
Well, I'm gonna guess. Here's my favorite bad guy from the 80s. Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Oh yes, no, that's not him.
Okay, Andre the Giant.
No, he was close second for me.
Sergeant Slaughter.
No.
The Iron Sheik.
No.
The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
No.
I'm thinking of all the bad guys.
Yeah.
Who? Give me a hint.
He was really quiet. Never spoke a word.
George the Animal Steel.
No. The Undertaker.
Oh yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Now he was in the late 80s, but in the 90s, he was most popular. So I was a little bit thrown. I was a little bit thrown by that. But he started late 80s, Undertaker's great. Are you impressed about the amount of wrestlers I could just name off the top of my head?
I really just did. I'll be honest with you. That just blew me away. Some I'm like, no.
We're going to do a spin-off podcast all about pro wrestling.
Oh,
it's going to blow up.
No, it's not. No, don't even think that. That's not going to happen. Not with me in the hot seat.
The Flying Elbow, Marshalltown, Iowa. Check it out. It was great.
There you go. Moving on, Josh, we had the proudest episode that we've ever had, because this is all about Minneapolis, Minnesota. He's proud of his town, and
I'm so proud of my town.
I visited you, mate. I visited you. That was really cool.
That was another great memory. You surprised me, and
yeah, I did.
And then I came home from work and I was like, get in the car. I had a whole itinerary just like in my brain right away. And we did so many cool things. And it was a busy, busy weekend. I wanted to make you, I was just thinking in my brain, like, if I had 2 days to spend here, what would I do? We went to a Minnesota Twins game.
Yeah.
First MLB game.
Yeah.
I'm wearing the hat right now.
I'm wearing the hat right now. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, Josh, I went to Pennsylvania just for a drive across the border the other day. I was wearing my Twins cap as well. And we're walking down the street, and there was not that many people around. It was a bit misty rain or whatever. And this guy was pushing his pram across the other side of the road. And all I heard was him go, "Go Twins!" Like that. I looked across. I'm thinking, what's he talking about? And then I thought, I'm wearing the hat. That's right. I'm wearing the hat.
We're everywhere. We're everywhere. We're proud of our Twins.
In Pennsylvania, there you go. And Tim visited us as well when I came for Minneapolis. So we had spent some time with Tim.
Yeah.
And that leads us now into the next episode, which is that you and Tim, by yourselves, without me, you and Tim went to Disneyland of geocaching. That's Grand Forks and Gilby in North Dakota. We did like a weekend trip away.
Yeah, that was great fun. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah. We missed you. But we had some Miller High Life in your honor during the trip. And gosh, you could go up to Gilby, and there's, every year he puts out great new caches. So if you're a geocacher, it is a destination for sure.
And Josh, I'm going to make it, without going too quickly into the preview for this year, it's on my list to do this year. There you go. Nice. We move on after that one. We move on to we've got Georgia on our minds, and we had Katie on. Geocaching Katie. She was on that. That was a great episode.
Yeah. My favorite, probably the most bizarre place that we mentioned on the podcast was mentioned in that one, of the Babyland Cabbage Patch Delivery Center.
Hospital. They called it a hospital, Josh. They actually called it a hospital, but all it is literally just the center where the Cabbage Patch dolls are born or made.
Yeah, you could watch a live birth of Cabbage Patch dolls there. It was so bizarre.
And it's funny enough, after that episode, I spoke to my wife about it, and she spoke to her friend, her college roommate of all sorts as well, because they both had Cabbage Patch dolls growing up and stuff as well. And her roommate is a bit, I would say, quirky. And she's like, how did I not know about this? So guess what? It's on their list, Josh, to go and visit. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's on their list to go and visit it after that episode. So there you go.
I love that.
There you go. I know, that's cool. Next up, we had some great responses about this guest we had on as well. We had Auroras Across America, a van life journey with Jeff Wag.
He's been to every Aurora in the United States and one in Canada.
That's right.
We need to have Jeff on again. He's a van lifer that lives in Chicago, I believe. But
he gets around in his van. So
but he makes special quirky trips, and he made a quirky big trip to visit every Aurora in America.
Yeah,
I love that. We need to have Jeff on again. He is full of stories,
and he's a good podcaster as well, because he has his own podcast. And again, a shout out to Jeff on his podcast, a van life journey, van life journey with Jeff Wag. And great podcast. He had a good voice, had some good information to come through as well. So I really enjoyed that. And we got some great positive responses from that episode as well. So that
means we need to have him back. We need to have him back on the show.
Speaking of which, we need to have this next one back as well, which
gosh.
I think we will. She was great.
My daughter, December 11th, Reese the Rock Johnson,
she
talked about her college town, Bowling Green, Kentucky, caves, cuisine, and culture.
Yeah. I'm not really a car girl.
Not really. Yeah. Bowling Green, the home of I've been to Bowling Green so many times. I need, next time I go to Bowling Green, I need to go to the Corvette Museum. I need to, just to see the sinkhole filled with cars, with Corvettes. That's so cool.
And last but not least, Josh, we had our top 10 Christmas themed locations in the US, which is a research type episode, which was really cool. And I think it was a good episode to have for our last one on Christmas Day as well. Christmas Day it came out. So
love that was posted right on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
We don't take a day off here on the Treasures of Our Town podcast.
No.
We just go. Yeah.
And
speaking of go, 2024 is here.
2024. Where are we going to go, Josh? What are we going to do this year?
Well, we know for sure that I will be able to use my TSA pre-check finally.
Yes.
Finally. The curse will be broken.
In a couple of days, too. Not long after this episode is released. So there you go.
I know. This week, it's happening.
Week, You're flying, Josh. And so am I.
And hopefully the TSA pre-check, hopefully it works.
Yes.
You told me to get it, and then you cursed me because I never traveled again.
Well, by air anyway.
Yes, but we're going to Orlando, which I'm just going to say not my favorite airport. Maybe my least favorite airport in America.
It has a good virtual in it, Josh. Let's be honest.
It does.
The guy with laying down on the luggage. That's pretty cool virtual.
One redeemable quality, but. The terminals are messed. There's two separate terminals. Usually most airports, you go through security, you can get your way to where you're supposed to go. I went the wrong way, had to go all the way through security, which is usually horrible in Orlando. Had to leave and go through security again.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That happens in Orlando.
Really,
sometimes.
Here's your tip for the show. If you're flying to Orlando Airport, pay attention. Really make sure you know where you're going.
Yeah, exactly. So we're heading there this weekend, Josh, and we're going there for a Munsey mega event as well, which is really cool. We're going to meet up with Rob from Munsey, the president of Munsey, and my other co-host on the Munsey podcast as well. So we're going to meet up with him. We're going to meet up with Tim. Tim's going to be there from Minnesota Boy. We're going to meet up with Carson, Buckeye Casher. Dale and Barb are going to be there. It's going to be a pretty cool weekend event.
It's going to be the who's who of Munsey.
Yeah. Whelan's going to be there as well. So he's getting up there. I think he's number 2 now in the world overall.
I'm going to see him in a little bit here because I'm going to a Munsey event in a few hours here.
Oh, there you go. So,
I wonder if he'll wear his short sleeves. We got snow on the ground. We're hardy. We're hardy. Finally. We're hardy people here in Minnesota, and so we will. We'll wear shorts out in this weather. Well, not really. Well, my son will. But here's the thing, Craig. I don't know if I haven't talked to you about this yet. I have a friend that lives in Orlando, and I asked her. I was like, I need hidden gems. I need local secrets, hidden gems, because Orlando, pretty touristy town.
Yeah,
she gave me all these ideas for restaurants. She gave me that the locals know about.
Yeah.
And so I have a list, Craig.
Oh, you do?
Good. Hopefully we can go to a few of them.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna be. I'm not gonna have a car, so we're gonna have to convince Rob.
That's not gonna be hard to convince. Yeah, Rob. As long as it's got beer, then Rob's
some of the places are breweries too. So I've got some non-touristy, more local places to go. Hopefully we'll have time to do it. We won't be Captain Munsey's the whole time. And if we want to leave an area, we'll just blast the area. We'll just blast it.
Blast it and then move on. Exactly. But we'll say this as well. While we're at breweries, let's give a shout out to Rob. Rob's got his own YouTube channel, and he needs some more love on that YouTube channel. Yeah. He really does. If you follow him at Beer Snob Rob. I think that's a great name too. Beer Snob Rob.
That's a great name.
He does a lot of beer reviews and whatever as well on that channel, and that's what his niche is him drinking beer. So what a great channel that is.
I just watched this morning. He was drinking ciders in Epcot Center in the France Pavilion.
Yes, and he did a world tour in the Disneyland of the breweries in Disneyland. So drinking all beers from around the world. That's really cool. Josh, after Orlando, what else have we got coming up?
It looks like it's happening.
It
looks like it. I don't have my flight booked yet because I don't know why. Do you have your flight? Do you have your flight booked for this already?
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah, we need a little bit more confirmation. But it's I'd say we're at 95% that this is happening.
Yep.
Bamarama geocaching event. It's the second annual time that they have done this. I guess last year. It's in the Gulf Shores area of Alabama. Guess what, Craig? I've never found a geocache in Alabama. Can you believe it?
Really?
It's one of the states. I'm going to get a souvenir. I'm going to climb the souvenir.
Wow.
Thing. I'm going to get up there with Doug McCrae. Not really.
Bamarama is a mega event. So,
Yes.
in other words, it's people there, almost 500 people or more are going to be there, geocachers themselves. This Bamarama event itself, if you want to have a look at it, again, event links will be in the show notes. But it's over a week long, Josh. They have events almost over a week long. We're not going to be there for that full week. We're going to be there for the mega event on the one day.
Well, it's going to be a long week for us because after Bamarama, we're going to drive over to what's that state? Oh, Louisiana.
Louisiana, yeah.
And I'm going to visit for the third time. We're going to go together.
Yeah,
Houma, Louisiana.
That's right.
Which we're deep in bayou country. We're deep in gator country.
Oh, here you go, the gator. I love that show. That's the best show. But they've got a geotour there, Josh. That's what's getting us over there too. Is a geotour.
I've done their previous geotour, but they've refreshed the whole thing. And this one is themed on some of the Cajun food. So we yes, it's perfect for travel. Perfect. So Houma, Louisiana. I'm excited to visit again. We're going to be down in that area almost for a week. For a week. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that.
And letting people know as well, our next episode, Josh, is going to be recorded live between the two of us, and even Rob may be on as well from Munsey in Orlando. So that's going to be really cool. And then obviously with the Bamarama and Houma, I say Houma. What Houma you say? Is it Houma? Houma. We're gonna that's gonna be an episode on the show as well. Yes. So that's really cool. The other one, Josh, that's gonna be is pretty much locked in for us for 2024 is Geowoodstock in Flagstaff, Arizona.
It's the Super Bowl of geocaching. How can we really miss it? And how can we miss it in this location? Flagstaff, Arizona. I've never been to it. Craig, I've never seen the Grand Canyon. I was at a holiday party, and people were like, what do you want to do for 2024? And I said, 2024 is the year I'm going to see the Grand Canyon. So that's a biggie. It's a biggie. It literally
Flagstaff, Arizona is literally the foot here, like the footing stepping stones to the Grand Canyon, which is really cool. Also, what's really cool at the moment, as of recording this, they've got 1,500 will attends.
That's a lot.
They're halfway. It's a lot, but they're halfway to giga status. They need 3,000. So they need 1,500 to get giga status. But it's the second giga in the US.
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people to get will attends. It's going to be okay if it's not giga, but that would be really cool if it was giga.
It'd be really cool if it was giga. So
yeah.
If you're a geocacher and you're thinking about it and have a look at it, do some research and try and get there. Josh and I will both be there as well. So come and say g'day to us from there as well.
Craig, are we going to go find the geocache benchmark?
Oh, that's right. That's like we did in Florida.
Yes. Are we going to find the final? Well, it's not really the final one. The final one's in Iraq, but
but you can't find that
one. We can't get that one. It's at the Iraq airport.
Yes. Yeah. Where the base was, the military base was.
I know. And I asked the military guys, like, what's the chance that I could just be exploring the Iraqi Baghdad airport? He's like, no chance in hell. It's like, shoot.
No, especially not now anyway.
But yeah, we're talking about a special benchmark. Gosh, this is nerdy. The benchmark is a thing in the ground, but this one is special because it has the geocaching logo on it. So I've found all of them except the one in Arizona, which is like out in the middle of the desert. So Minnesota boy who also wants to go to Geowoodstock, he's also making it he wants to find it too. So I don't know this. It's north of Phoenix, near Sedona.
Yep.
Which is also a beautiful place, by the way. I don't know. We'll see if we have time, but that could happen.
That could happen. We could get the geocache, as you like to say.
Geocache.
Now, also, I will say this, and that is 2024 is a little bit, it's still available for us, you know. So if you're listening to this show and you think to yourself, you know what, my town is great. I think it'd make a great episode for these guys to come, etc. Then reach out to us and give us information, and we'll go back and forth in regards to how we can attend your area, your location, and do a feature your town on this podcast, and also videos as well. So
especially if you have a geotour in your town.
Oh yeah, yes.
And especially if you're really proud of your town.
Yeah, you have to be proud of your town.
You have to be proud, or else we're not coming.
Yeah, exactly. That's the number one rule, Josh. Because we've got to. You got to mention it. You got to mention whoever brings us to their town. You got to mention them and say that they're proud. So, yes, that's number one. So, yeah, definitely reach out to us, guys, on any of the social medias, and we can try and hook it up from there and arrange it if possible. What else, Josh? Do you have coming up in 2024?
Well, we talked Oak City, maybe. I already talked Geotours, Seneca Falls, New York.
Yeah.
Craig, are you coming back to Minnesota for Muncie Mania? Maybe?
Josh.
What?
Yes.
You are?
Yes, I am.
That's in May.
Yes.
That's in May.
That's in May. I know, in May. It's coming up quick again. Jeez. But I'm hoping all the snow's going to be melted in May, I dare say. But is it going to be muddy and sloshy? Or is it going to be okay in May?
It should be okay. It's usually May is usually beautiful.
Okay, that's cool.
Think about it. It's usually the opposite of May for weather is September. So April is October weather. May is more like September weather. So September is beautiful.
Yeah. So that'd be really nice. That's really cool. Josh, we've mentioned already before on this podcast about the Patreons that we've had, and Dale and Barb and Tim and a few other others as well. We've got a few Patreons, but we can always use more. We can always use more, Josh. Yeah.
Especially if you're a patron or you're listening to us. We love to hear from you, but we have a lot of this first year. We had a lot of geocachers because that's what we're kind of known for. I'm really interested in knowing, please reach out to us. If you're not a geocacher, and if you just found our podcast somewhere else and you're a regular listener to us, we want to know that. Please talk to us and reach out to us. And of course, anybody, it costs money to do podcasts, the hosting and all the stuff. Craig does all that behind the scenes, and he tells me it costs money. And we don't want to have a bunch of commercials, and we don't want to have to have sponsors, and we don't even have a lot of podcasts nowadays have those pre-roll advertisements in the middle or at the beginning. Yes. Yeah. We don't want you to have to fast forward anything.
No.
So this podcast is completely listener supported, and we just are so thankful for that. So thank you so much. And Craig and I have been talking about doing some things that might be a little bit surprising to people, but it's only going to be for patrons. And I'm not going to say what it is yet because I don't want to commit fully. If I speak it out on the podcast, people are going to be like, "Where is it?" Yes. But we have some ideas to even make being a patron of the Treasures of Our Town podcast even more appealing.
Yes.
I'm speaking really slow, and we know what happens when people speak slow on podcasts.
Like Rob does.
So if you've been enjoying our podcast, we really would appreciate your support. By supporting us, you're helping us to create better content. So please consider joining us. Write it down. Well, not if you're driving. Patreon.com/Treasures of Our Town. And there you can get gold nuggets. There is a free level, but we don't put anything out there for free. Well, I shouldn't say that.
There's a couple.
There's a couple things. There's a couple things out there.
There is. So for next episode, Josh, as I said before, we're going to go to Orlando, Florida, and we are going to be recording live in Orlando together, you and I, and Rob on the show as well, which is really cool. But otherwise, Josh, as I said before, how can actually people contact us if they wish to reach out and have us explore their town?
Reach out to us at treasuresofourtownpodcast@gmail.com, or you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
So that's our show for today. Please subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcasting app. And as always, Josh,
may your travels always lead you to the most unexpected and amazing hidden gems around the USA. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Happy New Year. For all the acquaintance be forgotten.